Hello, my name is Taylor Lancaster, and my topic for this research project is the history of the diagnosis and the treatment for mental illnesses. So, going back to the first ancient times where this stuff was treated or diagnosed would be many people thought that demons were the cause of all this because religion was so heavily influencing the daily lives of all these people, because it was like the only thing they knew. Science wasn't really developed yet, and evolution wasn't really an idea yet. So people thought people who had trouble functioning had demons inside them, and they were cursed by Satan. So in order to treat that, they would do trephination, which is the drilling the hole into a person's skull so the demons would come out. And then when more people went away for the demon idea for a while and went more towards, there was the imbalance of the humors or the fluids inside a person that was making their body react in a certain way because there was an unbalance in the body. And then it went more back towards the demon side during the medieval times with possession. Demons were physically entering this person's body and making them act a certain way. And that's when exorcisms became widely known and why they're still so well known today in horror movies, because they would chant basically and force the demon out of the body. And if the person got better, then the exorcism worked. But if it didn't, then I'm not sure, but I think they might have been condemned or something. And then one of the last ancient things was witchcraft. This was heavily believed, especially in Salem, Oregon, with the Salem witch trials. And in order to see if whether a person was a witch or not, one of the examples was the water floating test. Basically, bricks were tied to people, and if they were thrown into a lake, if they drowned, they were innocent. If they floated, that means they were a witch, and then they were burned. People did not treat people with mental illnesses humanely in the past. It was very horrible for them. They suffered greatly, and it pains my heart to know that these people died because they were treated as insane or sick and couldn't get better, or demonized. Now we have more modern approaches thanks to like the medical model, for example, and Sigmund Freud also helped with the biological perspective, saying something in your body is not right, whether that's a predisposition or anything. The psychological, which brings into Freudian, which is the unconscious. There's something in your unconscious that is causing you to act this way. The sociocultural is the people around you, who you hang out with, what your culture is, the way your culture works. If there's something in there that's causing you to express yourself or cause you to have this mental illness. And the last one is the biopsychosocial, which looks at all of them combined. And for also another past treatment was that there were asylums that people stayed in, and those were horrible conditions. Those people suffered greatly because of the unhealthiness, and the people coming to watch them and treated them like freaks, laughing at them, very inhumane. Now we have the modern treatments for mental illnesses would be psychodynamic therapy, trying to root out those unconscious things into the consciousness so they can be dealt with. There's also the behavioral therapy, modifying what you're doing every day to help see if that can change how you act. The cognitive behavioral therapy is a big one, as we said many times in class. That is what That's what insurances cover for the most, but it only works on a handful of illnesses, like you said, and sometimes they try to make it work, but it just doesn't. And the biological ways of treating it would be drugs, the electroshock therapy as well. Um, an early example of diagnosis was that I saw that schizophrenia was believed to be caused by early problems between the child and the mother. And psychoanalysis was big, and it was thought to work and to treat this because they thought schizophrenia was caused by this conflict between a child and a mother, when really this was not the cause at all. And early drugs were to help with schizophrenia as well, to control the psychosis, the hallucinations, but they weren't effective. Like the first early drugs to treat the hallucinations did not work, and so people just suffered more because those medicines didn't work. Another article I read was discussing how we should not rely heavily on the categorical stuff, the categorical diagnoses like the DSM has. It's very straight to the point, categorical. We should not, we shouldn't rely on it because it is a very individualized basis, and we should look at the individual and discuss their problems, why this person, why now, what are they going through, and then we discuss the treatments, not looking at, oh, you have all these, this is from the DSM, this is what your symptoms match up with these illnesses, and here are some treatments. It should be very individualized. As well, in schools, there are also ways to help treat them in schools. There have been plenty of nurses and counselors kids can talk to about this stuff, and you can also talk to your teachers too. And another thing is, I wondered if the school counselors work with your actual therapist or your actual counselor as well.